I'm probably one of the few elders of the community, if I can put it like that, on the basis I came to the first ever service that was here, which was followed by a picnic in the park so we could all meet each other. And I was one of the original 4 trustees, and I've been on the committee doing one job or another ever since.
I'm Howard Duckworth. I'm the Warden of the York Synagogue. I've been here about 3 or 4 years now.
I'm Sian. I've been with the York community for about 5.5 years since I moved up here 2018 and got very involved very quickly because it's a great community to be part of. I'm officially Vice Chair, but I've also taken on membership, security, social secretary, you name it, I'll do it.
I came here 2 years ago tomorrow, I think it was, and I came up here to do a service with the now Rabbi Gabriel Cantor-Weber as he was leaving. So he'd been here for 4 years and they sort of needed a new student rabbi in the absence of having a rabbi, and they approached me, I think Gabriel's recommendation. I don't know how much they've regretted it in the last 2 years, but I've been here 2 years and I've genuinely enjoyed being here.
My name is Danny Rich and I'm a rabbi. And I've been involved with the community. I think I'm credited with being its founding rabbi, mainly because when lay liberal Jews founded the community, they asked Liberal Judaism, which I was heading at the time, for help. York Liberal Jewish community doesn't have a rabbi, a resident rabbi, uses student rabbis, and I therefore am the sponsoring rabbi for its proselytes, people who convert to Judaism, and today we have a class on Introduction to Rabbinic Judaism.
We first set up in 2014. In June was that first service. We've been going ever since. We started with just a handful of families, a mixture of ages, always have been. And we're now up to about 100 people. We're attractive enough that the students from the universities come to major festivals like High Holy Days, and we do a Rosh Hashanah and a Pesach Seder, and they come to the more informal things like Sukkot. We try and do everything that's family friendly, attracting everything from the toddlers right up to Bar Mitzvah, up to adult education and things suitable for all ages. And because we've always been so open and inclusive and encouraging, our community just keeps growing and we keep attracting new people.
I've just been completely welcomed in, and I love that it is so inclusive and that everyone comes as they are and comes together, and we share in kind of worship in whatever way we feel comfortable. And it's been a wonderful place to just be and to help raise my kids.
It is unbelievably warm. It's engaging, everybody is welcome, and it's just something for everybody. Those of us who have been born Jewish all our lives, but have had to follow a very sort of strong path, suddenly it just gives you what you want, and you can be part of and you can help define.
Judaism is a massive part of my life, to be honest. It gives me a lot of pride, like knowing that I'm part of a pretty vast community, and like knowing that I represent and I'm part of this massive group of amazing people in Judaism. I consider it like one of the 3 biggest factors of my life.
In the 1190s, in the 12th century, there were some Jews who hid in Clifford's Tower because they were being chased out of town by sort of angry Christian mobs. They were meant to be protected by the king, but he was out of town, and then they all committed suicide, basically to avoid being killed by the mob. And that kind of led to these mistaken ideas that Jews weren't allowed in York, by Jewish decree, that, you know, we won't go back because this is what happened. Hanukkah used to be held outside Clifford's Tower, and then last year it was held inside Clifford's Tower once English Heritage had done all of its restoration.
When I became warden, and then the Clifford's Tower had a £5 million restoration, I decided that we're going to have Hanukkah in there. There's this famous picture that I had taken of the Hanukkah. In the background was Clifford's Tower. And I said, next year, never mind next year in Jerusalem, next year in Clifford's Tower. He succeeded in 150 people. Interesting, that was 150 people who died in Clifford's Tower. 832 years after that, the very, very first celebration of Hanukkah, which is absolutely wonderful.
For me, the idea of God revealing God's self through continual progression is our developing understanding of what it means to be socially progressive as well, and having that ideology and saying, who am I going to be as a progressive rabbi when I eventually get there, and bringing that into communities and working with communities and making that happen.
Progressive Judaism is about being Jewish in the modern world. It's about taking the the great values of Judaism with the great insights of modernity and living a Jewish life, having an impact on oneself, one's family, one's community, and the society and world in which we live.
I was explaining to my son about how I feel that Judaism is ever evolving. And I think that is what is so attractive about progressive Judaism. It's a living, breathing thing that is constantly evolving. And if we evolve along with it and the ideals and values of society, it stays very alive. I think that's really important to me as a person and as my core values and the ones I'm passing on to my children. So it feels incredibly comfortable to be in a place where I feel that everyone around me also embodies those same values and lives by them. Like we're different, but we're on the same page, which is just gorgeous, really.
It's allowing you to develop as a person. It's engaging you as a person. And the most important thing is that it includes everybody. You know, you don't have to be Jewish by birth. People coming to Judaism is huge. And to me, that's always important, bearing in mind where we stand in the world. So for someone who was born Jewish and, as I said earlier, going through all of it, it's my spiritual home. And I understand why it's a lot of people's spiritual home, because it allows you to do that.
Progressive Judaism, it's like, obviously, like trying to open the world's eyes a little bit, especially after, 900 years ago, we were not part of York and most of northern England. So the massacre about 900 years ago, basically there hasn't been a community in York for 885 years. And I think it's a massive step that in a city like this, where Judaism was not allowed, like it was just no, having a community there, I think that's a massive step to the acceptance of Judaism and overall just like everything.